and welcome to the Lifestyle Refresh podcast. I'm Stephanie, and I'm so excited to have you here. This is a space where we explore what it really means to live a balanced, healthy, and fulfilled life through fitness, mindfulness, resilience, and everything in between. I created this podcast to share with you my journey, all the ups and downs, and the lessons I've learned along the way. My hope is that it inspires you to show up for yourself no matter where you're starting from. Each episode will dive into topics that will help you refresh your mindset, habits, and lifestyle so that you can step into the best version of yourself. I'm so glad you're here to join me on this journey. Let's get into it. Hello, and welcome back to the Lifestyle Refresh podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie, and today's episode is The Sober Hype Girl's Guide to Alcohol-Free Living. I'm your sober hype girl, Stephanie. Today we are talking about the big elephant in the room, alcohol. We're going to go over all the truths, all the facts, all the myths, the real in-depth alcohol stuff. I've been sober for a little over a year now, but it hasn't been an easy journey. It's a very clear decision in my life that is how I want to live, but it definitely hasn't been easy. So we're going to go over that and kind of even what my relationship with alcohol looked like before I gave it up, my whole journey, all of that. Before we get into today's episode, I want to welcome you. Whether you're here because you're curious about living a life without alcohol, maybe you're questioning the role it plays in your life, or maybe you're just feeling like something needs to change, but you're unsure where to start. I just want you to know you're in the right place. First, let me say this. Wherever you are in your journey, it's valid. There's no right way to feel about alcohol. And it's okay to have questions, fears, or even doubts. Deciding to explore your relationship with alcohol takes courage. And just listening to this episode is a huge step in itself. I've been where you are. I've felt the pull of social norms, the what ifs, and the uncertainty of what life without alcohol might look like. I dreaded that. I thought it wasn't even possible. But I also know the clarity, freedom, and fulfillment that comes from choosing a path that truly serves you. So whether you're here to learn, find inspiration, or just feel a little less alone, I want you to know you're not being judged and you're not alone. My goal is to create a space that's honest, supportive, and empowering. Because if you're even thinking about this, you're already doing something powerful for yourself. And that's big and should be recognized. So in today's episode, we're going to go over my personal story with giving up alcohol, practical steps to explore sobriety for anyone who's interested, and to encourage you to embrace an alcohol-free lifestyle. So let's go over what my relationship with alcohol was like pre-giving it up. I mean, my childhood, it wasn't a regular or heavily done thing in my house growing up, but it was normal. I guess I didn't really think much about it until I just naturally became a teen, and that was what you do, go to parties and sneak and drink and whatnot. All normal stuff, right? Because that's the way it was looked at. And I think this is really important to talk about, right? How society shapes our relationship with alcohol, especially during these teenage and young adult years. Drinking is often presented as this rite of passage, a way to fit in, have fun, or even just to prove yourself, which is crazy. But it's true. It's everywhere. It's in movies, parties, on social media. It's even in your casual conversations. I see it way more too, especially since COVID. I'm a hairdresser. I talk to people all day long. And it's very eye-opening to see the truths of this reality and how normalized it is. And we're taught to see it as normal. It's all expected and supposed to be harmless, right? But what we're not shown is how this normalization of alcohol can trickle into adulthood. And then what? We're left with alcohol becoming a default coping mechanism, or it's the centerpiece of our social lives. And the truth is, it's hard to escape. It's hard to even step back and question something that's so deeply woven into our culture. You probably even feel like an outsider for thinking about it. The pressure we face to keep it in your life because it's just what people do. But here's what I've learned. Just because something's considered normal, it doesn't mean it's right for you. It's okay to question that. And it's okay to step outside the box and ask yourself what you really want. And it's also okay to choose a different path, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. And I want it to be known, if you are pushing through something that's against the grains and against what society and just our human nature is, and that's being pushed on you, and you choose to go against that, it's gonna be uncomfortable. So you have to really sit and think on what that choice is for you. This journey isn't about conforming to what society expects from us. It's about reclaiming what feels right for you, not anyone else. And I'll tell you what, that's where the real freedom begins. So we all know and feel the pressure when we get into our teen years and the normalcy of what alcohol is and how it's pushed on us. But we really should look at how that does trickle into our adult life. Because me and my husband, we started dating in our 20s, and that was just what we did. It was normal. Our relationship was kind of built around that. I feel like a lot of teens, that is how it goes. So when you get into adulthood and you start having families, it's hard for a lot of us to stop and start to question that. Where does the line start and stop? When does it shift from just having fun and being a kid and having a good time to this is an issue and you shouldn't be living life that way? So early on in my husband and I's relationship, alcohol was a pretty present thing. We were in our 20s and we would hang out and drink playing a rock band or whatnot, but it was just what you did. It was both, it's looked at in society as a normal thing. So fast forward, and now we've grown into habits of, whatever occasional drinking looks like to you in your house. Ours was definitely multiple times throughout the week, just a few. And then weekends obviously would be more intense. We had kids, started a family, and it still continued because it was normal. COVID happened, and oh my God, all bets were off. But we all saw it everywhere. It was joked about. It was all normal. Normal. Perceived to be. But deep down, I always knew that it wasn't right. My relationship with alcohol didn't feel right or normal like it was portrayed to be. I always deep down felt like there was something I needed to change, but it felt like life was constantly pushing it in my face. So how could you possibly step away from it? Because that is what it is. It's constantly shoved in our face. As a society, as cultures, we've glorified this. But realistically, if you look at it, it is such a burden on our lives. That is what is hindering our daily wins, our relationships, all of it. And yes, it is coming from that glass or two a night. I hate to break it to you. And what is normal, right? What is the average alcohol consumption? In the United States, the average adult consumes approximately 2.3 gallons of pure alcohol annually. So that translates to 9.5 standard drinks per week. 9.5 drinks a week. Like, think about that realistically. How many of us are actually doing that? According to the CDC, a moderate drinking is defined as 1 drink per day for women and 2 drinks per day for man. But realistically, they say you want to max out anyone. You want to max out your drinking as normal and average your consumption per week at 2, not 9.5. And that's what the average of us are all doing. It's a big problem. Drinking had become a very regular thing in my life, but deep down, I did know that I didn't want to continue life like that. I knew it was hindering me. I knew it was negatively impacting a lot of my relationships, but a lot of my day-to-day life, a lot of my goals in life, whether it be physical, professional, all of it. I knew that no big deal, occasional drinking habits were not helping me reach my fullest potential. So I knew deep down it had to change, but I honestly couldn't fathom or picture a real life with never drinking again. Like, that's such a long end goal. So to say that it's a big deal. To me, at least, that was a really big deal, and that was a big thing to get past for me. But, me and my husband drank very regularly together. It was normal for us, and it hit a point in our relationship where he was put in the position to make a choice, and he personally gave up drinking alcohol. And while I was so proud of him, obviously, and so happy that he made that choice, I was so relieved and so grateful, because it kind of gave me that easy way to lean into that. I knew I always wanted to. So not everyone's going to have this situation play out for them this way. And I understand in your house where you live in, like, the foundation of that is important. So this was extremely helpful and in my favor that he had made that big choice for himself, and then in turn making me make this big choice for myself. But I couldn't just immediately make that choice for myself, because I didn't want my choice to be giving up alcohol to be kind of like his choice. So I gave myself a year and I tested it. So for that whole first year, I barely drank. Like, I did not drink at home, at least. There was never any alcohol in the house. Like, that was like a big thing. But if I would occasionally go out with my friends, I would have a couple drinks. And like, I just started noticing little things. So I gave myself the whole year, and I wanted to put it to the test. I wanted to extend it out. I had an event kind of that like was that like almost a year marker that I was like, all right, let's make that like my last time. So like I had a benchmark in it too that made it kind of a easier way to look at it. So I gave myself the year, and I just wasn't missing it. And I wasn't, especially during the summer when I would like sit, my parents live on a lake, so we go down the summers and hang out, and it's, you sit on the boat and have a couple like high noons or beers and stuff, and it just feels good. Like, and I noticed even doing those and just having a couple, I was exhausted. It was draining my energy. And that was a huge red flag for me. And I was looking at these all throughout the year with my relationship, with that kind of ending point with alcohol, where I was looking to revisit it and how it really looked for me. I noticed a lot of little things. Waking up in the morning, my patience was so little. I mean, I still have my moments, and that's like a much bigger thing that you have to work on personally. But I was noticing a big with my kids. Like, I was just very short, all of those things that you don't want to be. Irritable. And even after one drink, like, you wouldn't have the killer hangover, but you would have that gross, dry mouth. Like, it's a feeling. We all know it. And even when you get to that point where you're occasionally doing it, it's crazy when you do that for so long. You can drastically see how much it affects those little emotions and things throughout the day. So by the time I tested that for a year, it was a no-brainer for me. It really was. Like, I knew I wasn't going to miss it. I still knew it was a very fearful thing to come out and say you were done drinking forever, not going to have alcohol for the rest of your life. That's a very bold thing to say. So there was still fear to come with the decision, but I was so sure in it. But I will say, having someone who's there with you to go through this with makes it so much easier. It really does. You really can like talk it out and relate. But it's also so amazing to see like the trickle effects of these habits. It starts to creep into other people that you know. It's amazing. So it's more important to make bold moves and bold statements like this with your life than you think it is. I was just having this conversation the other day. There's so much of a bigger picture. Like, yes, you make the action, like I made the action for myself to give up drinking. But there's so many more people that are affected by that decision. It's not just for me. It's for so much more than that. Especially now that I'm doing this and choosing to share my story, use my voice to help others navigate this huge issue that society has put on us all. It's not fair. And since giving up alcohol, let me tell you, oh my God, so many positives. My mindset, everything's so clear to me. I get it, right? My goals, everything. I have been so driven. I've had so much energy. My relationships are better. My health is better. There's so many positive changes. And it's been fun now. I'm doing this whole mocktail thing because I was the type of person that I enjoyed the beverage. I liked fruity drinks and cocktails. There's something to having a fancy, fun drink in a glass. So getting past the fact that that fancy, fun drink has to have alcohol in it, that's the trend I'm pushing. And it's so hard to find like mocktail bars that really get it and know what they're doing, because how you deliver a drink and presentation, it matters. It does something to you, makes you feel good, right? Get a fun drink with a flower in it, looks pretty, get to take a picture, put it on Instagram. Yeah, we all love that. So just because I'm not drinking doesn't mean I want Sprite in a red Solo cup or whatever the little cups that they give you for the kids. It's a kid's cup. No, come on. So I've been totally invested into making mocktails fun and just get the garnishes going, get all the feels for it. I've been working with a company that I love that's a local company. I use their vinegars in the drinks because you can do that. It's such a good gut health hack, right? So it's kind of made like now when I attend gatherings and stuff, I'm the girl that brings the fun mocktails to the group, you know? These are the things that you're going to need too for practical tips to help you embrace this lifestyle. Because if you're here, I'm sure you've considered it. So moving on from those facts about how often we all drink as a society, and if you're curious about what life might look like without alcohol, start by asking yourself some of these questions. Take your time with them and be honest with yourself. There's no right or wrong answers here. This is just about exploring your thoughts and feelings, right? So first, ask yourself, why do I drink alcohol? Is it out of habit, to relax, to socialize, or are you coping with something deeper? Think on it. And how do I feel when I drink alcohol? Do I feel relaxed, happy, disconnected? If I do feel happy or relaxed, how long does that feeling last? And how do I feel after I drink? Physically, emotionally, mentally? What role does alcohol play in my life? Is it the central part of my social life? Or is it a way I deal with stress? How often are you doing it or relying on it? These are good questions to stop and think to yourself. Like, what would I gain by drinking less or not at all? Think, could it improve your mental health or your health in general? Your relationships? How about your self-esteem? Get more clarity and ask yourself, what am I afraid of losing if I stop drinking? Certain friendships? Is it all about social acceptance? Is that your only way of relaxing? Is that what you're afraid of losing? Am I drinking for myself or because it's expected in my environment? Right? Are our choices influenced by societal norms or peer pressure? Because a lot of the times I think they are. Another good question to ask yourself is, what might my life look like if I gave up alcohol completely? Can you picture it? All that you could do, how you could feel daily, all the things that you could experience more fully present. Now ask yourself, what has alcohol taken away from me, even in small ways? How many moments, those precious important ones, do you not even remember? You missed out on? Your energy wasn't there? Your confidence? Because of drinking. And ask yourself, if I tried living without alcohol for 30 days, what could I learn? How might you grow? And what might you discover about yourself? Really take a moment, sit with these questions, maybe journal your answers, or just let them marinate in your mind, right? Exploring these thoughts isn't about judgment. It's about self-awareness and giving yourself permission to reflect on what truly serves you. All right, so you've been thinking about it and you just want to know how to get started. How do you approach this? There are so many 30-day challenges out there. Do your research. Find one that interests you. When you find something that you sought after and it intrigues you, you're more apt to put the energy into it than if someone else brought it to you. So look for some 30-day alcohol-free challenges. Get the ball rolling. So many out there, but just find one that works for you that you can do. Start there. Just replace. So you're not skipping the habit. Make some mocktails. There are so many non-alcoholic drinks out there. Now is the time to take this opportunity to try and explore this because it's trending right now. It's actually cool to be seen or walking around with non-alcoholic drinks, right? I see it way more often. I love it. Some people who don't drink or have alcohol aren't about the non-alcoholic options, and that's fine too. But I think the fact here is that there's a lot more options we have to explore this than we think that we have. So, replacing your normal weekday drink, wine, whatever it is you have that you love, find an alternative. Try that. Find accountability through friends, right? Find a challenge and do it together. Family, there's so many communities out there. Call me. Reach out to me. A sober hype girl here has got your back, right? And how to navigate social situations. We need to learn how to say no without feeling guilty. The fact that we have to sit there and struggle to think of excuses is ridiculous in a conversation its own. But we have to learn how to not feel guilty about that. It's your health. It's for your whatever excuse or whatever reasoning you want to give. Don't feel guilty about it or shameful about it. You're making the positive choice. Anyone who makes you feel shameful or guilty about that is wrong. That's not right. You're making a positive choice for yourself. It just makes that person feel uncomfortable because they made the choice that you're avoiding. So don't let that make you feel guilty about the choice that you're making for yourself. But be prepared, right? Show up for these events. Bring your own stuff. Bring your own drinks, your mocktails, your non-alcoholic versions, your seltzer waters, whatever it is. Bring it so you have something. No, I'm good, thanks. I got this. You're good. Like, that way you have that prepared. You have that. And if it doesn't, then have an out. Have an exit. Because we don't need to stay and hang and deal with that energy or drama. No, thank you. We're making positive choices for ourselves. Anyone who wants to make you feel upset or wrong about that decision, whew, keep moving, girlfriend. And I actually think it's important, so I want to stop and note something, that I'm not talking about everyone who drinks, but I'm specifically talking about those people that call you out and make you feel weird and uncomfortable for your decision. But there are people out there that can have a healthy relationship with alcohol. I personally think, looking at it from a health perspective, that it truly is a poison and a known carcinogen. So I do feel like we all should look at it from that perspective and question our relationship with alcohol on that level. But I do want to point out, I'm not talking about specifically everyone that drinks automatically acts this way. That's not the case. But have confidence in your answer, because there's going to be people out there that are going to make you feel that way. So don't let them make you second guess yourself. The pressure's going to be there. Like I said, people that push you to drink, it's because they don't want their decision to be wrong. So they want you to do what they're doing so they feel more comfortable with what they're doing. And I think when we can look at the reality of it like that, you can stand up for what you believe in with more confidence. Own it. If you don't want it, you don't have to. And if you want it, whatever, it's there for you. Have it, right? It goes both ways. We have to address that. But lean into these new routines and plans and strategies and tools that you have. Dive into self-care more if you want to embrace this lifestyle. It's so good for you. But find these habits and hobbies. Go hiking. There's so many things out there that you can do to preoccupy your time and make you feel good that don't involve drinking. So the biggest thing is also finding these hobbies and things, self-care practices, whatever habit. Maybe you invest more of your time into going to the gym, not drinking. Whatever it is, find that and lean into that, because that's what's going to enrich your alcohol-free life. Before we wrap up, I just want to leave you with this. Choosing to explore a life without alcohol isn't about giving something up. It's about giving yourself so much more. More clarity, more energy, more connection, and more freedom to live life on your terms. I know it's not always easy, and I know there might be days when it feels challenging, but every step you take toward a life that aligns with your values and your well-being is a step worth celebrating. If you're feeling unsure, I want you to know this. You are stronger than you think. You are capable of change, of growth, and of creating a life you truly love. And you don't have to do it perfectly. It's not about perfection. It's about showing up for yourself one decision at a time. I want you to picture this. A version of you that feels lighter, more confident, more at peace. That version of you is waiting on the other side of this journey. And they are so proud of you for even considering it. So, whether you're just starting to think about this, maybe you're already on the path, or somewhere in between, remember you're not alone. There's a whole world of people, including me, cheering you on every step of the way. You've got this, and you're worth it, always. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today, and for being open to exploring this important conversation. Whether you're just dipping your toes into the idea of sobriety or already walking this path, I hope this episode gave you something meaningful to think about or a little extra encouragement to keep going. Remember, this journey's yours. It's about finding what feels right for you and building a life that truly aligns with who you are. If you found this episode helpful, I'd love for you to share it with someone who might need to hear it. You never know who might be silently struggling or looking for the same kind of encouragement. And if you're looking for more support or resources, you can always connect with me over on Instagram at lifestyle_refresh or send me a message. I'd love to hear your story or answer any questions you might have. Lastly, if you're enjoying this podcast, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It means the world to me and helps this message reach more people who need it. Thank you so much again for being here, for being open, and for taking this step toward a life that feels truly free and fulfilling. I'll see you in the next episode. Until then, take care of yourself and remember, you've got this.